You're now listening to the Pitchside Peregrines podcast, your home for all things Athletic Club Boise.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Pitchside Peregrines podcast. I'm Kyle,
I'm
and I'm here with,
Elias.
he's Elias, and we're here. Hey, that could change here pretty soon when, again, baby, that's an FYI for everyone watching. No baby yet, so I'm still here. So we'll see if that changes between now and the Las Vegas game or whatever game. I think Chattanooga is after that. So we'll see if I'm still around. But we wanted before this weekend's game against Las Vegas. This is the USL Cup this year, which is one of two essentially cup competitions in the U.S. We have the Lamar Hunt Open Cup, and then we have the USL Cup, which is just USL League One and the USL Championship. But before kind of like giving you guys, we briefly spoke about the USL Cup earlier in one of our earlier episodes, but now we can do like a brief kind of more in-depth rundown, not too long. Kind of explaining the competition and the format and what can we expect. But we had a good week when it comes to the accolades for AC Boise after our obviously dominant performance against Westchester. So Dennis Kostishin was named the USL League One Player of the Week. Dennis Kostishin was obviously on the Team of the Week, which also included Jake Dengler, Jonathan Ricketts, as well as Jonathan Kleber, who made the bench, which is kind of an interesting. You don't really see that in many places. I guess like having a second team of the
All
week.
week.
But also, I guess, USL League One does do, they have first team all league, they have second team all league. So I guess it's like, sure, why not have, second team of the week?
Weekly.
Essentially. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's a pretty heavy Boise presence on the team of the week. Jake Dengler, I think he was my second star, my second top performer for this last game. So yeah, again, I'm surprised. I mean, I guess actually, thinking back, it's like I'm not overly surprised that there weren't more because those three were pretty standout players. Maybe
Yeah.
Toomey might be a little hard done. But yeah, it was obviously a good performance. Elias, do you think Toomey had a shout to make the team, or was this reflective of the best performance?
I mean, Toomey did have a goal, but I don't know if it was anything outlandishly talented in what his finish was versus what Dennis had.
Yeah,
I can't speak to the other players who were in competition for that position to make maybe the forward group for the player or team of the week. So Toomey did have a great game, but I can't disagree with him not being on there. What I can say is I maybe want to credit us for maybe lighting a fire under the defenses, but because shortly after the game, Jake Dengler did DM us on Instagram and say, "Yeah, we did see that you guys said that we were going to score two or three goals against this team, and we got a clean sheet. So respectfully, suck it."
Respectfully. Turns out Jake Dengler is. He was both hilarious and also intimidating because
yeah.
I had
Yeah,
but
having
now we know.
anyone 6 foot or above and as large as he is, message you on Instagram. There's definitely okay, yeah, take the money, whatever you want, man. Like, not trying to ruffle any
Yeah,
feathers.
it's now I feel like I have outside influence on my predictions now. I'm like, oh no, what's
Yeah,
Jake gonna say, or
you'll see
what's
him during
Dennis gonna say?
warm-ups.
Because
He
now,
said he did want to message us beforehand, but didn't want to jinx any results. Jonathan Ricketts also said, "Hey, you guys gave us some whiteboard material." And I said, "We'll give you whiteboard material whenever you want. If that's the product you're going to print
oh
out."
no, I don't.
Um,
Are we gonna end up like Brentford? Like Brentford, did you see like on their big screens at their stadium where at the beginning of the year, everyone does the standings predictions
where they're going to
and
rank.
all of the YouTubers, oh, Brentford relegated, and then they play it, and as Brentford are now in sixth, I think Brentford are up to sixth or seventh now in the Premier League table. So I hope that's not us. I hope like AC Boise, if we predict like a really bad game, they don't just put us on the big screen.
Hey,
It's like,
we predicted a win. That's all I'm going to say. We didn't
see,
predict a
see.
loss. We just maybe assumed that Westchester was going to be better offensively, and the boys in the back said, "Oh, heck no," and locked him up, put the clamps on him, and made team of the week.
So what you're saying is we should predict they're going to give up 4 or 5 goals every game.
Yeah, and they'll just win 3-0 every game.
And
I
then
mean,
if Jake Dangler ever sees us on the greenbelt walking or something, he's going to kick us into the river.
or he might thank us for always just giving them fuel to
Mm.
have results like that. But
Yes.
nevertheless,
Yes.
really
Yeah.
proud of those guys. Happy for them.
Yeah.
And I would say we have 0.1% credit to why they
Yeah.
made that
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
and the result they had. On top of Dennis's amazing week of Player of the Week and everything like that, he also was in competition for Goal of the Week. He currently leads that vote by 60% to 30%. Should be closing here the next day, so it seems like he's got it pretty well locked in. Amazing second goal for him, that curling finish right in front of the river guard and the supporter section. I mentioned the river guard. We did see that a new maybe supporters group is forming. Just wanted to give them a shout out if any of them listen, and if not, just let people know that there is another supporters group. I did see one of their shirts at the match on Saturday and thought it was really cool. It is, excuse me, ACBC is their name. It's the Athletic Club Boise crew.
Yes. Yep. Athletic
Um,
Club Boise crew. Yeah.
and they've got a
Yeah. It's nice
cool
shirts.
logo that's a rip off of ACDC, AC with the Falcon lightning bolt in the middle and BC on the other side. Really cool. Would be interested to see what their kind of genesis and thoughts of their creation and maybe what their core idea is. I mean, obviously they're
Yeah.
a supporters group and want to be rowdy and fun in that area, but just thought we'd give them a quick shout out before we jump into today's USL Cup breakdown. So, with that, we do have the USL Cup, and as Kyle mentioned, this is the only cup competition that AC Boise will be participating in this year. Think of it maybe as for maybe European audience, FA Cup, things like that, where actually scratch that from the record. It is nothing like the FA Cup.
This is the League Cup. This is the
Think of
League
it
Cup when compared.
as the World Cup just for the USL, where there's group stage and then the winners of the groups go on to a knockout stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, Boise is in group one with five other teams. There are seven total groups, ranging from 5 to 7 teams in the groups. The group of five is due to South Georgia folding. Teams of or groups of seven just are geographical issues where you have to put teams who are all in the same area together. I'll put a graphic on the screen, just breaking down those groups. You won't dive into them all, just since we're here to talk about Athletic Club Boise today. So the teams in Athletic Club Boise's group are Spokane Velocity, who we've already played, a very strong USL One side. Us, Sacramento Republic FC, who is currently in fourth in the Western Division of USL Championship. Oakland Roots, who's currently kind of middle of the pack, I think seventh or eighth. Monterey Bay, who is currently the basement of the Western Division, and Las Vegas Lights, who is currently one up from the basement of the Western Division. So, kind of a blend of some weaker championship sides, a few stronger championship sides, and then Spokane, who is one of the, if not the current top team in the USL One, League One. So, compared to the other groups, I think we maybe have a nicer draw. I think the worst group I would say for a USL One team is Group Two, where AB Alta
Yeah.
is alone with five other Southwest teams from the USL Championship. So we'll see how they tend or how they come out
Yeah.
with this.
They might have a rough time.
Yeah, but you might be asking yourself, okay, how does Athletic Club Boise get out of the group? Kyle, do you maybe want to give our listeners a breakdown on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is one team that progresses from each group. So there's seven groups, and they move on to essentially the quarterfinals. So there's going to be eight teams, and so that math ain't math, and essentially where it's like, okay, so we get seven based on who wins the groups, and there will also be one wild card. So essentially, the wild card will be the top performing team when it comes to points accrued. Um, Out of all the groups. So whoever it'll be the second place team from every group. So from all seven, and whatever team has the highest point total, they will progress. If there is a tiebreaker, it will come down to goals scored rather than goal difference. So it'll be, I think that kind of incentivizes teams to really try and push to win these games, or at least even if they are losing, not to worry about their goal difference. They're just gonna, put put the pedal to the metal and try to score as many goals as they can. And one interesting aspect to the USL Cup is that if a game is ending in a draw, rather than each team getting 1 point, they will go to a shootout and it will go to penalties. And if a team wins on penalties, even in the draw, they will get 2 points. So, a regular win is three. If you win in your penalty shootout, if you draw, then you get two. If you lose, you get one. So it's, I guess no penalty against you if you lose the penalty shootout in a draw. And then obviously if you just lose outright, then it's 0 points. So I think because I think it was last year when they had two wildcard teams because there was less teams in the competition. So they had the six winners progress, and then they had two wildcard teams. I think there was four or five teams who finished all in the same points total. So it was a pretty messy getting those teams figuring out who's gonna progress from that point on. So I think this gives a little bit more variance in the point totals that we're gonna see. Maybe there's still gonna be one or two teams that finish on the same point total, but this should get a little bit more discretion for how many teams are what their point totals are going to be. So it could be more of a clearer, I guess, a more clear picture of which wildcard team will be progressing. So yeah, that's a little bit different. And then but then from there on out, it goes to single elimination. After once you get to the quarterfinals, the final eight teams, then it's quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. And this is a newer competition. This is a newer competition. This is only its third year. It had started in 2024 as just USL League One. The USL Championship team said, "This sounds lame. We don't want to do it." So the final in that year in 2024 it was Northern Colorado Hailstorm, who I think they folded, and then in 2025 last year it was actually Hartford Athletic that won the USL Cup. It was a championship team last year, and I think that was one. I think I think the game was held in Sacramento, so that's kind of a home field advantage, obviously, for Sacramento. But I think there was a Sacramento fan that decided to like jump in amongst the Hartford Athletic fans and got in a huge fight at the end of that game. Like
Oh
he got
yeah.
bloodied up pretty good. He got bloodied up
Yes.
pretty good. So hopefully none of that. None of
Yeah,
that,
no
please.
roughhousery. The River Guard or the supporter section at this beautiful stadium, sitting right there, would never do such a thing. We
No.
would, if Boise ever made it to the USL Cup Championship, I hope we are clean and nice folks to any
Yeah.
away audience.
An
Um,
interesting strategy too, because usually you see away fans kind of jump into the home fans
yeah,
and start something. You don't see many like home fans, just one
yeah,
of them
starting
jump into the
some.
group of the away fans. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
yeah,
the point structure for this competition is definitely it brings some allure to it, a draw, especially with Athletic Club Boise drawing I think two or three of their games so far. Um, Thinking that, oh, okay, it's a 1-1 draw and we're going to the 90th extra time, final whistle blows. The game's not over. We're still going to a shootout. We have some more entertainment. We have an ability to pick up an extra point for this standing. With only one team coming out of the group, you're kind of going to want to either win in regulation or win in a shootout to have a chance at the wild card, even just given you're the only one team. So, unfortunately, you only play four of the teams in your group. You don't play a full six-way round robin. So, Athletic Club Boise is playing Las Vegas Lights this Saturday. They are playing Spokane Velocity. They are playing Monterey Bay, and they are playing the Sacramento Republic. So a favorable draw, I would say.
yeah,
If we could have
mixed bag
taken Sacramento out and put in Oakland Roots, I
would have
would have
been
called
better.
it a perfect draw. But we're getting the two bottom teams in the Western Conference from the USL Championship and a team we've already played and statistically dominated in Spokane Velocity. Unfortunately, that game against Spokane is at Spokane and not home, but what's the closest away match of the season? There's a chance that we could have some people go and show up for that match. So,
And it's I feel like it might be good. So we get Monterey Bay and Sacramento here in Boise,
mhm.
and I feel like all, me included, technically, all the Californians. It could be a good draw for because usually Cup games not quite as many people attend. So maybe the fact that we get the two California teams from an area that has a lot of people who've moved here
Hmm.
from those areas of California, me included. Uh, I think San Jose would be my closest team, about 45 minutes, but I think Monterey Bay is only 50 minutes from where I grew up in California, so they would kind of technically be my hometown team. Same area code,
Yeah, it
if
is
that matters.
interesting to me. Cup games, I feel like, are always a midweek match, but all four of our cup draws are on the weekends. So,
I
um,
think the midweek is Open Cup is kind of the that
I see.
yeah
So
Open
yeah,
Cup.
all four of those games are on a Saturday
Hmm.
or weekend. We have May 16th against Monterey Bay at home, June 6th at Spokane, July 11th at home for Sacramento, and obviously April 25th. The playoffs and this entire cup concludes in early October, so obviously drawn out quite a bit. Have a long time to see how it all pans out, and we can kind of see come July 11th against Sacramento. If we win, are we in? If how many points are we even in the competition to win the group, let alone the wild card? We'll have plenty of time to digest and see what's coming. So one cup game every month from now until July, starting with this away match against Las Vegas. Really interested to see how AC Boise stands up against the a championship side, especially maybe Kevin. I think if this game this weekend was against Sacramento, I'd be a little bit spooked, honestly.
Mm,
Just given that they are a really strong team. Nothing against the boys with Athletic Club Boise. More just we have played a lot of the top competition in the USL so far. So just seeing what top competition in the USL One looks like versus top competition in USL Championship. See maybe that age or the skill gap if there is one, and see what kind of fight
yeah.
we put up against a stronger side.
And Sacramento's just so proven. Like
Hmm.
they're successful. It feels like they're successful every year. So yeah, that they are by far one of the tougher teams that we could get drawn against. So yeah, it'll be a good test. But yeah, before we kind of close out our little overview of the format of the USL Cup, Elias, what how do you feel about we talked about the points, hey, the penalty shootout style, point system for this competition. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's a good thing? I feel like purists, obviously, soccer, football purists are going to hate it, because it's very American. It feels very like 1990s. I don't know if you ever saw it, but in the 1990s, the MLS had our
1v1s.
penalties was 1v1s. And I feel like this
Hmm.
is just a very Americanized, like I could totally see FIFA doing this in the World Cup. I could totally see it. And like in the next World Cup in 4 years or 4 years after that, and in 8 years, I could totally see them implementing this just to be like, and we're gonna cater to the because they're gonna have a halftime show. FIFA's
Hmm.
gonna have a halftime show. I can totally see it. I can totally see it. And all the Europeans are just gonna just lose their minds and hate it. And I kind of get it. I kind of get it. It is different, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think the FA Cup and Carabao Cup have gone to this in the earlier matches. Or not the early matches. I want to say, yeah, I think they've all gone to penalties. They haven't gone to the
Ooh,
redraws and flipped. Because I know Leeds went to penalties against a
yeah,
few other teams that there where they drew early on in both competitions. So it is kind of something that's being adopted
yeah.
just to avoid unnecessary games or unnecessary time played.
Yeah. I think
Um,
League Cup is straight to penalties, and FA Cup. Yeah, I forget. FA Cup may have
I
gotten
know
rid of
early on, I'm pretty
extra
sure it's
time.
90
Yeah.
minutes straight to penalties. But I think it adds an extra layer. It gives maybe the USL one teams a chance that if they are tied after 90 to, I mean, respectfully, anyone can win in a penalty shootout
Hmm.
as long as your goalie is giving you a chance and your players get shots on target. It's not there's not as big of a skill gap parity. I would say as much as true just on the field skill. Now, if you're shooting against Manuel Neuer or you have me taking your penalty, different story. But I would say it adds some excitement and it maybe reduces the need to play extra overtime or having these games be drawn out as they are an extra game in the schedule versus say, oh, we're drawed. It's a 1-1 draw after 90. Let's go to 105. Let's go to 120.
Mhm.
And then let's go to penalties. Um, I just think it prevents from having a group of 6 or 7 or 5 all being tied at four
Yeah.
points with everyone drawing every game, which the statistical analysis and possibility of that probably low, but it covers their butt from having any type of easy 6-way draws. Um, and it allows the players time if they get there to take penalties and get that time in, since at least Athletic Club Boise hasn't been into a penalty shootout yet.
Mm.
Our goalies have not had to defend a penalty so far this season. We have not
Except for the
given up a
fan
penalty.
fest. The fan fest,
Yeah,
that was
fan
it.
fest, but no in league play. So
No.
it would be great. I really enjoy it. It's fun. It feeds the U.S. fan some high intense,
Mhm.
high blood pressure, high excitement moments. But do you have differing thoughts the way you were painting this
No,
early on?
no, I get it. I think I think they're just trying to avoid what happened last year where they had 4 or 5 teams all in the same point total. So I think it'll be fun. I think I don't want to draw any games. It'd be nice if we could just win them.
Mm,
But obviously, we have to go to Spokane. It's like, okay, I could see a draw there. We have to play Sacramento. Okay, I could see, kind of hope for a draw against
yeah.
them. Monterey, I don't want to draw against them. I want to,
Mm.
I want to beat them. I just want to beat them outright. Same
Give
with
them the
Las
people's
Vegas.
elbow.
Same with Las Vegas. Um,
So
so
is that
no,
your
I do. I actually like it. I think for this, I do like it just to make it more clear cut who's progressing, and and maybe that makes the groups more exciting.
yeah?
Maybe it makes the groups a little bit more exciting. So we'll see. We'll see.
So
Um,
of
I'll
a
give it a thumbs up.
possible, huh?
I'll give it a thumbs up. I think it's good for this
Yeah,
competition
yeah.
specifically.
Of a possible 12 points available in 4 matches, what would you say? Obviously, we want Athletic Club Boise to win all
Mm.
four and progress through the group. But from our perspective, what would you say would be maybe a successful point total leaving the USL Cup? Um,
Well,
Given
obviously
we're
we
playing
yeah.
Spokane and 3 USL championship teams.
I've well, obviously the heart says 12. The heart always going
Yeah.
to say 12 points. But say okay, so away at Spokane, I think getting out of there with 2 points would
Yeah.
be good. 2 points out of Spokane away. They're not having the attendance that I think they've had
No.
previously. The luster is kind of worn off up there in Spokane, so maybe that home field advantage isn't there. Um, I don't know who it is from the River Guard who's on the USL League One Reddit, but he's just in a really good fighting match with some Spokane fans, and he's just talking a whole lot of smack. And Spokane apparently hates their stadium, and they just hate everything. And so maybe that's fuel for our
Yeah.
players. Maybe they're on Reddit, like looking at how much Spokane is talking smack about AC Boise. But I think the head says 2 points out of Spokane. And if we get, I
Sacramento
mean,
at home,
if
Monterey
I think if we
away.
get if we get 8 points, I think if we get 8 points, I mean, we're out of the group for sure. It'd be nice to
Really?
get 8 or 9. I think we get 8 or 9 points. I think we get 8 or 9 points. I don't know if we win the group, but I think I'm gonna say 8.
Eight
I think I'm
points.
gonna say 8. I'm gonna say 8 points. I think we get a penalty shootout win against Spokane. I think we do lose to Sacramento. Just thinking with my head, I think unless Sacramento, I think they valued this competition. They took it seriously last year. They were obviously in the final, so I think they take this competition seriously, and I think that might just be it would be a big test. But again, this is my heart says 12 points, but I'm going to go with 8. I'm going to go with 8 points, and I don't know if that's enough to wild card to progress, but I think it's still a really good showing.
Hmm. Yeah.
How are
So
you feeling?
Sacramento plays Spokane. They play Monterey Bay. They play. I'm just looking at maybe the lead favorite. They play the Oakland Roots, and then they play us. So they play the two USL one teams, and then the worst
Oakland.
team in the USL, and then the better other team. I think all the eyes would be on Sacramento for being maybe the favorites to leave the group. Again, yes, my heart wants Athletic Club Boise to win all 12 game or all 4 games and get 12 points, just like I wanted Leeds to win the Premier League, but
Hey, you might
they're
win the
not
FA
gonna
Cup.
do that.
You might win the FA Cup. You're in the semis. You're at
Yeah, we
Wembley.
are. Cup magic happens, but I think you bring up a good point, Kyle, in not only how the opposition views these games, but how will Nate Miller view these games.
Mhm.
We don't know. We'll see on Saturday against the Lights what kind of lineup he trots out. I'd be more interested in the May match, given how busy May is for the club.
Mhm.
What roster we put out for the
Yeah.
Monterey match, but. Yeah, I would say.
This could be a game where we maintain the same lineup just to
Mhm.
not take the foot off the gas. And then in May, when there is more congestion,
Yeah,
match
putting some.
congestion, you can see some rotation. But yes, you make a
Yeah, I
good
think
point
there
about
has to be
that.
some strategy where if unfortunately a loss happens against Las Vegas, if you have a straight up loss, it's going to be pretty hard to win the group, I think, no matter what. So given that, maybe then you let these cup matches be more of an exploratory, um, give Jackson Stevens, give Gasso the start, give Javi maybe a start in net. Who knows? Um, Besides the point, I would say, yeah, 7, 8 points would be ideal, or what my brain tells me. I think 2 or 3 points against Las Vegas would be an amazing start. I think the Monterey is a must win to have a chance at winning the group.
Yeah, you have to
So
beat
that's
Monterey.
5 points. And then between Spokane and Sacramento, if you could get a point each or 2 points and 1 point to get to 7 or 8, I think that would be a great outing for an inaugural team in their first cup run. Um, but I think it all starts with Las Vegas. And if we start off poorly in an unfortunate loss, I think maybe then we who knows? There's so many
Hmm.
different outcomes that could happen where something ends up or we lose the first game and we can still win the group. Who knows?
Hmm.
But yeah, I think 7 or 8 points, averaging a penalty victory through them would be a great outing, given play championship sides. Be it obviously our roster is made up of a few championship names, but we'll see. Given the outing against Westchester last week, we've seen pretty um, riding a high and showing great offense and defensive prowess, but we haven't played a championship side. So
Yeah,
I would, yeah, 8 points would be an amazing outing for
yeah,
me.
yep. No, I'd be happy with that. And obviously, a lot of people won't be. They will. Again, we want Boise to win every single game.
Hmm.
But when you look at when and the funny part is when you look at the season as a whole, it's like we will never ever win every single game. But when you go into every game, you look at every game on paper, and it's like, oh yeah, it's game day. I could see us winning this by doing
Hmm.
this. It's like, oh, if we do this, we have a good chance of winning. So I think on our day we can beat anyone in the USL. We can. It's. I feel like the talent difference isn't going to be that huge
Yeah.
between USL League One and USL Championship teams on paper, and so and again, we have a lot of that championship experience, and we are performing well, despite some of our results not being in the points that we needed. The performances have been good. Really, the only bad performance we had, in my opinion, Omaha wasn't great. Omaha was, not a good performance, and there was some bad moments in Navy Alta. But other than those two moments, I feel like we perform. The performances have been there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this competition, seeing how we stack up,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to either progressing outright or sneaking into that wild card spot.
Yeah, really interested to see how this all pans out. Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Let us know what your outcome result prediction for the entire group would be for Athletic Club Boise. What would be a shocking success for you? What would be a disappointment? And don't forget to subscribe, like the video, or like the podcast if you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But thought we would just give you a great rundown of what this cup looks like, since it's not the USL One play. Little look into who our opponents are. We will be having another episode coming out this week where we do take a deep dive into the Las Vegas Lights and give you a little bit more prediction into that. But that's all I have for today's video. If we want to, I'm just going to back up on that. That's all I have for this video. Kyle, do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No, sir.
Beautiful. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your thoughts are. And we'd love to have a healthy conversation about where we want Athletic Club Boise to finish in this group. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
That's all for today's episode. If you enjoy the show, make sure to like, comment, share with a friend, and make sure you're following the show wherever you listen. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for all updates and future content to come. If you want to help support the pod and get access to exclusive content, early episodes, and bonus perks, head over and check out our Patreon. It truly helps us keep this thing growing. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for being part of the community, and we'll catch you in the next one.